All right, welcome back to Sales Life with Sean Ward, editor-in-chief of the Sales Life Letter of Intent.
Yeah.
I hope you don't mind that title. I'm giving it to you.
That's good.
Podcaster and friend. Welcome back to the show. This puppy is live, Sean.
We're out there. I don't know if that, it's a little nerve-wracking, right? You're just kind of just feel out there. But we're out there. Exposed.
No. That's
know that
the
was
most
the
negative
intent.
way that's the most negative way to think about it.
Well, there you go. There you go. Leave it to me. Leave it to me. That's
my wife, I was listening to one of our episodes going back in time and yesterday, and I was laughing, and my wife was like, "Why are you laughing so hard at yourself?" or whatever, because she knew I was listening to Sales Life. And I was like, Sean's just talking about his midlife crisis.
Well, see, okay, there you go. So I feel a bit more exposed for these reasons. I have, midlife crisis that I'm dialoguing about. Your life is just perfect, man. You're just rolling. You're rolling.
Bro, far from it. But you definitely have been, again, this is why we've gotten great feedback so far, because I just want to be clear to the audience, not to like mess with the timeline in your mind, but this is the first time Sean and I are recording where the podcast is live. And so we were kind of doing this as an experiment, trying to figure it out. And now it's out there as any podcast can be. And yeah, people love it because you're super honest. I mean, and I'm trying to be, it's not like I'm lying. I'm trying to be honest as well, but I think some of the stuff we've touched on has just been pretty cool.
Yeah, I think there's some comfort in like seeing other people get crushed. And I mean that like in a decently positive way. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like, okay, yeah, that guy's going through it. Okay, my life isn't so bad. Or I'm going through it too, but I'm not alone. So I think there's a bit of that. Like like you put a post up about like how your day, dude, you got me so good with your posts. You're like, you outlined your ideal day. And this was a longer post of yours. And I swear to you, by the midpoint of that post, I just had like this shameful feeling like my life is so out of control. I have nothing figured out. And then we got to the turnaround in your post where you were basically saying, I'm just kidding.
Thank you for bringing this up.
So yeah, I think people like that though. I'm telling you, I liked it. Because you built the tension. The tension is I have everything figured out, and then in comparison, I'm like, oh man, I'm missing the boat. And then you broke the tension by saying, just kidding, I don't have anything figured out.
Yeah, it was the anatomy of a viral LinkedIn post, which is my first. I know it's hard for you to sort of frame that because most of your posts go viral, but this is the first one I've had where it was kind of like pretty surprising, 900 reactions and approaching 100,000 views or something like that, and all these comments. And by the way, I know we have killed content on here, which we're going to keep talking about, but one of my target potential clients was like comment 162 on this post.
Wow.
Which, think about that for a second. Like,
yeah,
that was awesome. And what a cool reason to call him. And again, that happens very rarely, I think, but that's the whole point, right? You're familiar. Yeah. It's a warm call because your stuff's out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate you bringing this up. It was sort of written in, well, I'll say two things about it. Number one is you can't be authentic every single day. Like you can, I'm not saying make it up. You can't write a post like that every single day. That's like raw authenticity. This sounds like I'm saying you need to lie most days, which is not my point in this. But the point of that post was to say like, I'm human. We're all human. You think everybody on LinkedIn with their corporate vibe, everybody's got this perfect life. And here's the actual truth. Like, I'm 15 minutes late to everything, all that stuff. You just can't do that every day. But if you build up the professional, you build up who you are as a professional, then you can slide in those human moments. And then everybody's like, wow, they're like me,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm struggling with adding enough professional posts on my professional social media platform. I'm failing. You know what I mean? Like most of my, I'm concerned that I'm veering into like this other category that I don't think I want to go in. You know, there's this life, I don't know, life coach category. I want to make sure I'm still SoCal industrial real estate. That is why I'm doing all of this social media. Again, because I'd prefer to be a private person. I'm doing it for the benefit of business because I believe we're transitioning to, or we have already a long time ago, but the business world and the commercial real estate world is very slowly catching up, but transitioning to the attention economy and capturing attention on social media platforms and bring that around your business. So that's why I'm doing it. But I end up talking about, you know, my life and my midlife crisis. And I don't know. It's all very strange. So I hope it fits.
Well, and I want to ask, I'm actually want to ask you about one of your posts for sort of the meat of this, maybe, but you take us wherever you want to go. But I will say, give yourself permission to just kind of live a little bit. And I think it's okay. Number one, most of the content that people put out there is forgotten about, right? Like, you know, so it's not that big a deal. Number one. Number two, like one of the things about this podcast that I love and some of the stuff I do sort of on the weekends, like let's say YouTube, or it's like a hobby. Like it's life-giving and something I'm passionate about. I don't feel like I have to do it. And so it's kind of like, you know, I have the exact same thoughts that you do. And maybe other people out there are having those thoughts. And I'm like, dude, you do commercial real estate every day from about 7:45 to 6 p.m. Like, okay, so I want to talk about life on the weekends.
Yeah.
Sue me. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I'm talking to myself a little bit, but
yeah. No,
I've just never found,
I agree.
You know, I've never found talking about the statistics of the Central Kentucky market to be riveting to a national audience.
Is that where you work?
Central Kentucky, yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
But anyway.
No.
Okay, so let me take you back to a post that you wrote that I love. And you've done this a couple times to me, but sometimes your posts are like watching Marley and Me. Like it just...
We're a Marley and Me reference. All right. Okay.
I mean, it's like watching A Dog's Life or something. It just, you read through it and at the end, it just rips your heart out. And this one the other day was about your kids. And it was basically like, leave work right now because it's not as important as making memories with your kids. Take them to Disneyland. Mm-hmm. I think you're going to cost me like $5,000. I'm planning a trip to Disneyland.
I hope it's more than that. Yeah.
Youngest daughter, I'm sure it will be. I have zero idea what anything costs.
I hope you spend all the money on this stuff. Yeah. Why else do you have money?
Die with zero. But just take us into your headspace. Like take us into your mind about this idea of like what prompted that.
I was at the gym. So what day is today? Today's Sunday. Yeah, we couldn't do. Yeah. We had rain. We were going to do this yesterday. I couldn't set up outside, so now I'm setting up inside of the project house. By the way, if you could see behind me, you're looking at something that started 2.5 years ago when we ripped our house apart, and has largely looked like this. But I'm hesitant to even say this. We're making progress, I think.
It looks done.
You're a jerk. You're such a jerk.
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
What's funny is like right there is our garage, and that's where all of like our clothes are, right? So we have this little back house, and then I walk to the garage to get dressed, you know, in the morning, walk across my backyard, hope my neighbors don't see me in my towel to get dressed. All my clothes are in there. And the contractors were doing drywall 2 weeks ago, and they left that door open as they were sanding drywall. And when I say they completely covered the garage in a layer of dust that got into every piece of clothing I own, I'm not exaggerating.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
fun.
you're back to Pacific Sunwear for more
Yeah, dude.
surf gear.
Yeah. Back to Pac Sun, guys. Yeah. Anyway,
Sorry.
what were we talking about? Oh, yeah, sorry. Today's
Yes.
Sunday. 2 days ago, Friday morning, I go to the gym with a buddy. And, I picked him up at 5:45. We're driving. Somehow we start talking about, he's telling me what schools, what colleges his daughter got accepted into. Now, when I tell you, I swear to you that I was holding her as a baby like nine months ago, maybe a year and a half ago. Like, I'm telling you, it feels like that. And now she's going to college. And the conversation just goes to this strange thing that happens with time. Time is not like this linear thing. And it's all based on our perception of time. But, when we were younger, starting careers, and I've been friends with this guy since I started my career, very close friends. And, that time period, it's like, I don't know. It just feels like life is great and time's just moving and you have all the time in the world. And then you have babies and you go into like this hunker down, sleep deprivation, to like survival mode, right? Each day is like, okay, I just got to get dinner and then I got to get the kids down and then I got to get up and do it. Like, it's just, time slows down. And that period is a grind.
Love that time.
I happen to love babies. I'm like a big baby guy. Like, if I could hold babies, as a side hustle, like that would be my side hustle. Like, I love babies. So I love that time period, but it's a slow grind. And then your kids hit like grade school. And then it's like this weird portal, this slippery slide into grade school to, oh my God, I don't have kids anymore, is kind of the way it feels as they become teenagers. And then this guy's just a few years ahead of me is like, yeah, she's going off to college later this year. Like, she's literally moving out, not just aged out. She's like, she's gone. And it's just this sense of, man, if I had realized how short of a time period those grade school years were, and this is me, not him saying that, but for me, if I really took that wisdom into the life I'm living now and kind of coming out of the years of grade school, I would have been more intentional. Even for me, I would have been more intentional than I have been. So that was kind of the idea for the post. And I just, just real life, living it right now.
I love it. When I read it, I was sort of asking myself, am I creating rich life experiences or not? Right?
Yeah.
And I'm actually a huge believer in this. I read this book, Die with Zero, that was recommended to me now probably like a year ago. Mm-hmm. And I'm definitely a guy to make memories and invest in trips and, sort of live that type of life. Like, I believe in what you're saying. And I've got the family movies, for example, to prove that, like, it's something that's really important to me. And one of the things that book did, which I highly recommend to people, not that it's a perfect book, but it's very stimulating with this idea, is it freed me. I felt less guilty about doing what I already want to do, which is create those life memories.
It's amazing.
And I think people don't realize the financial, emotional, spiritual, physical impact of what this book framed to me for the first time, which I had not had this thought before. These memories compound like investments. So you do something like a Disneyland trip where you pull your kids out of school and it's like, oh, that was fun and expensive and all the stuff that we know it is. What this book added to my life was like, you put that in the bank and it sits there and it compounds for the next 20, 30 years. And it puts you in a totally different space when you're old.
Yeah. And you know what? So we get pushed on us. I would say we, like anybody who's in our space of where we work or kind of building a business or entrepreneurial, the things that we get pushed on us upon us is, hey, you have to invest money because of the whole compounding nature of money. And the earlier you do it, the better. And you have to start a career path early because it takes time, right? And so like there's all this urgency to front load finances and investments. And it's like you said, it's the same concept, but with family. And sometimes push comes to shove, you got to choose between one or the other. And that is what I would say is the great irony of your 30s, just pick a time period. But the great irony for me was I was about 12 to 14 years into my career, like that time period where you're just about to start peaking in your career and taking new territory and becoming an authority in the market. And that hits at the exact same time you're in these precious golden years with your kids that you can't get back. So there's the rub. It's like the irony. You're peaking in both categories at the same time, but you still only have 24 hours in a day and you need to sleep 7 or 8 hours a night. It's like, so what are you going to do? How do you use that time? And for me, that created a ton of internal tension, a ton of it. So if anything, if I could just encourage people, hey, now towards the tail end of this golden years with my kids, if I could go back and do it again, I'd work hard on letting go of the guilt or internal tension I felt around my career and business. I'd drop that one. That would be the one worth dropping, because you could pick that up and you still got plenty of years to make money, but the window with kids is so small. Right.
Well, and you succeed in one, lose the other, and feel terrible about it. Like it's not what it's cracked up to be, because inevitably you circle back at the end of your life. And this is true for like death stories out there.
Yeah.
Right. And it's echoed in this book. But I've known it my whole life, which is like, what do people say at the end of their lives?
Yeah.
They say, man, I wish I wouldn't have worked so hard.
Yeah.
Man, I wish I was closer to the people that are the most important to me. And what are they thinking about? The memories they made with those people.
That 100%. But why? So, okay. So why do you and I still spend 10 or 12 hours a day doing real estate stuff?
Honestly, because I want to win.
Okay. You had the best comment on that post, by the way.
Which is what did I say?
You said, the problem is I just want both. I want sales and life. You know, I want kids and I want to kill it in business. And that's the rub. People want both.
That's the main issue of my entire life.
Yeah.
Just wanting it all. Like if I could solve one life issue, if I could lean into 2025, I want to ask you that, by the way. Like maybe it's this with your kids, but one of the things I wanted to ask you was like, what are you leaning into this year? Like, what do you kind of feel like and that is for me the number one thing. It's like, okay, you've pretended that you can do it all. You've pretended that you can have every specialty in Central Kentucky, for example. You know, you've pretended that you can have both sales and life, you know, greatest memories with your kids, also build this crazy career, also do this whole media thing. Like, what can you really do well? That's a tough truth for me to sort of think through and ponder. Should
we announce right now that this is our last episode?
No.
Hey, and by the way, if this ever gets in between our kids and stuff, like that's when we should take it out back and shoot it.
Well, here's the thing: is I would like flip that on its head for you. I think we maybe do only this.
Yes, that's true because my family can eat off all the proceeds that come from this, so I could just stop working.
Sorry. Media wise, I had no clue the bang for your buck that you get with you and I sitting down for an hour on a weekend and recording, which is, I'm going to say it's easy. And part of it's easy because I sort of know the back end of stuff, like how to get it to the right places and make it look and sound good. Not that I'm an expert.
And by the way, thank you so much, dude. You carry the heavy load there. I have no idea what to do other than hitting record as you tell me. So thank you for that.
Yeah. And so you then look at the final product, who it's reaching and what the effects are. And it's kind of like, oh, you know, like I could put another 6 hours into like a personal YouTube or record with you with those same ideas and actually have someone to bounce it off of, like I see it more moving in this direction because of the efficiency of it. I just love it. I don't know. I think it's like great and fun.
So in carrying into 2025, your theme is I can't do it all. Is that what I heard?
Sorry. My theme is two things.
I know you have a
One
word.
is,
give me your word. I know you got a word. Like you have a single word for this year. You don't have to share
dynamism.
it. Okay.
Dynamism is my word.
Okay, hold on. Let me pull up in Chat GPT. Figure explain dynamism to me.
Well, there are certain things that I would like to make my mark on this year.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen with passion and vigor. I stole this word from John Gray in one of the best podcast interviews I've heard of. I posted about it. I thought it was so good. And so that became the word, and make your mark is sort of the theme. And it's really leaning into, I'm doing this coaching.
Yeah. Yeah. How's that going?
And I'm a hard guy to coach because my expectations of myself have always been higher than like anybody who's like coached me or been an authority figure over me. I think until now.
You're ready
like in
for
this,
it.
yes, I'm ready for it. And I think this coach back and forth, which I'm like, by the way, I've like cried in 2 of the sessions. I'm like, is there a rule on, is there a rule on like tearing up as you, it's been super emotional for me, but it's been really, really good.
Does he charge extra? He or she charge extra when you cry? Is that like,
Yeah. He's like, I'm your coach. Okay. I'm not your dad. Like, let's back off a little bit here. But no, I think, part of my 2025 deal is like, I trust this coach. I'm going to do whatever he says.
yeah.
Like professionally speaking, like I'm just leaning straight into, I don't want to do that. That's painful. Yeah, Justin, sometimes you only do what you feel like doing. So why don't you just do it? Do it with dynamism.
Yeah.
What are you leaning into 2025?
I don't know. Surviving. Yeah. Survive. I mean, honestly, the theme of this season of my life is surrender. So it's more just surrendering my 5-year plan, my ambitions at work, my timeline with this project that I'm sitting in right here, just letting go of all of it and letting life lead, praying that God takes the wheel, which he will, which he has. Yeah. Surrender.
Survive in 2025. Love it, man.
It feels like survival, but it's more surrender. You know what we should do before you wrap this? Because I know you want to wrap this. Here's what we should do. Because here's what all the gurus say. If you go join masterminds and groups where, let's say you're going to go and do a group with other entrepreneurs and spend 20 grand for a week and do a boot camp thing, and all you see these programs everywhere if you're looking for them. They will tell you need to break your life down into 4 categories.
Okay.
Spiritual, relational, financial, and physical, right? You take those 4 categories, you get a vision for each one of them. And then you break down that vision into actionable quarterly goals, and then you be accountable to somebody with those. So it might look like this. Physical. I'm 20 pounds overweight. I got to lose that weight. And I'm going to do that this year. Okay.
You're talking about me?
No, just hypothetical, imaginary person. Financial. I need to, this is the year I'm going to max out my 401k and, buy an investment property. Relational. I got to get things right. I'm going to take my wife on a date night every week, and I'm going to take my kids out on dates once a month. What's the last? Spiritual. I'm going to get up every day and meditate and ice bath and pray. I mean, whatever it would be. So it's very typical. People then, do this. I would say, I think the challenge would be, hey, maybe we look at you can't do all that really well. You're just putting an absurd amount of pressure on yourself. And if you do that for too long, you're going to break, and you're not going to do each one of those well. So maybe let's focus on the ones that are most time sensitive and focus on those. So yeah, all that to say, I think the financial stuff in my life maybe could take a back seat, and maybe should have taken a back seat earlier. And it'd be cool if my accountability was to my buddies. You know, I'm super blessed to have like 8 or 10 dudes that I consider best friends.
Yeah.
You included now, right? And so if my conversations with these guys was, hey, another year, by the end of this year, your kids are going to be another year old. How are we maximizing that time? And just that. I don't know. Just a thought. Maybe that's the area of accountability that we should push into as us midlife folks with young-ish kids.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you bringing us full circle. I would say, like, depending on where you're at with kids, just one simple, practical, beautiful thing is, if you have 3 kids or 2 kids or 1 kid, pick a time in their life where you take them on a personal trip. And then your spouse, you know, your mom takes them on a trip later or whatever. Like for my wife and I do 5th grade, because 5th grade is still like not teenage girl. Yeah. But man, it seems like my girls are in 5th grade that I'm like, are you 16? What is I don't understand. But it's been so fun to have that tradition and look forward to it. And no doubt some of those memories I'll be thinking about on my deathbed. Like took Lila to New York City.
Okay. What grades are your girls right now?
Freshman in high school, 6th grade. So Lila and I just did ours, and then 3rd grade. Willow, my youngest, is 3rd grade.
Where was the trip last year?
The trip last year was New York. Lila picked New York City. And I was so like, fun. Yes, like I love New York. Did Broadway dinners, views.
It's the best.
We hit every Sephora in the city somehow. Like, I'm not kidding you. More skincare, which is not a bad thing, by the way. Like I do these masks and stuff now too. They're all into it. They sort of got me into it. But you know, after your 4th Sephora, you're like, honey, it's not changing. It's the same.
Your sense of smell can only take so much perfume overload. I mean, it's just, that's awesome. So, I love it. It's good.
You know, we just booked spring break. So yeah, I think be intentional and you'll see those memories compound. But thank you, Sean, on behalf of the world of LinkedIn and X out there. Thank you for reminding us that you only get one time to make an impression. You can always do deals, but you get one time to make an impression on these young humans.
Absolutely, man. I'd like to focus more on that. Let's do it together.
Cheers, brother.
See you, bud.